A lot can happen in a week. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it downright ugly. When faced with intriguing developments in the week's news, we turn to a rotating panel of non-experts to parse the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. On today's panel, David Branham, professor of political science at the University of Houston downtown, Mustafa Tameez, media and public affairs consultant and the CEO of Outreach Strategists, and Charles Kuffner, who writes the off-the-cuff political blog. David, Mustafa, Charles, welcome to Houston Matters.
Thank you for having me.
Good to be back.
Thank you.
Panel, a temple in Fort Bend County is now home to the third largest statue in the United States. As Houston Public Media's Natalie Weber reported from our Fort Bend County Bureau, the Sri Ashtalakshmi Temple dedicated its 90-foot-tall, 90-ton Statue of Union earlier this month. It depicts Hanuman, a Hindu deity seen as a symbol of uniting communities. The two larger statues are the Pegasus and the Dragon, a 110-foot-tall statue in Florida, and you probably guessed the largest is, in fact, New York's Statue of Liberty at 151 feet. According to Newsweek, the statue at the Fort Bend County Temple did receive some backlash from some Christian conservatives on social media, but temple leaders say they've seen nothing but support from the local community. The Houston area is now home to the third largest statue in the United States. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Charles Kuffner, start us off.
Oh, it's great. I love it. If you've ever read my blog for any length of time, you'll know that one of the things that I like, one of the things that I'm a fan of is giant statues. I'm a big fan of David Dickey's, of the giant presidential heads and the Sam Houston statue up in Huntsville. So I approve in general of large statues. And I think this one is both beautiful, stunning, attractive, and a great symbol. I mean, what you said, the Chronicles article says the god Hanuman is a central figure in Hindu mythology known for uniting families, protecting the vulnerable, and building bridges. And those are things we could use a lot more of in this day and age. So I do not approve of the people who are protesting it. They're free to have their opinion, but as far as I'm concerned, they can stay away. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, and I approve wholeheartedly.
All right. Good, bad, or ugly. David Branham.
Okay, well, I do understand why Christian conservatives are a little up in arms about the statue. It's something that they find insulting, and it's okay for Christian conservatives to do that as long as they don't do something crazy. They should have their opinion. I'm a Christian. I believe in freedom of religion. I think it's one of the most wonderful things we have in this country. So I'm not against the statue. I don't think anybody should ever be forced into a religion or so forth, and I don't think it works. So if it's against your religion, I understand, but the statue itself, it's very attractive. I from what I've seen, I haven't drove by it yet, so it's very attractive, and I think a lot of people will like it. The one thing I saw is this Hindu god could shapeshift. It's one of the features that the Hindu god has, which would be really cool if they can make it different sizes all the time, because he's supposed to be able to get as small as he wants to do things when he's small and as large as he wants to do things when he's large. It would be cool if they could actually shift the size of the statue.
Maybe what you want is for the statue would also be a transformer.
Well, that's part of the features of it, of the Hindu god. So that would be kind of cool, I think. But anyway, as far as good, bad, or ugly, I think everybody will think it's one of the three. So I'm fine with somewhere in the middle.
All right. Good, bad, or ugly, Mustafa Tameez.
Well, I think you got 3 for 3. I think it's good. And it's more than the statue, what it represents, right? Bringing people together. I think that's an important part of Houston. And even though this has the address of Sugar Land, it belongs in the city of Houston jurisdiction. So I think it's part of that larger Houston ethos of bringing people together and bringing people together around culture. And we celebrate that a lot in many ways. And one of the big things that people know about Houston around the country, around the world, is that we have a great food scene. And it is because 1 out of 4 people, Houstonians, born somewhere else, right? It's a thing that we take pride in. And I really, I kind of agree with the temple folks. Like, they don't really see there's a lot of online hate, but God, there's a lot of online hate on everything, right? So I think we shouldn't be really as focused as that. I'm sure that there's detractors to everything good or bad. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I am excited about the fact that the community has chosen something that's not just a reflection of their faith, but really is a symbol of Houston too, in that we want to bring people together and we want to celebrate cultures.
Yeah, I'd say it's not just a reflection of their faith, but their values, and that's what really resonated with me in reading about this.
3 for 3, good.
Panel, now a story about our neighbors to the north. Dallas is searching for a new city manager, and back in May, the Dallas City Council awarded a contract of about $134,000 to the consulting and accounting firm Baker Tilly to handle the search. As part of that effort, a city council committee this week reviewed a proposed brochure from the company advertising the job opening. Just one problem. As NBC5's David Coynes sussed out and reported this week, while the brochure is labeled City of Dallas, it features Houston on the cover. Whoops. Funnier still, the committee, while noting they didn't care for the image, didn't seem to notice at first that it wasn't a picture of Dallas at all, though credit to District 12 council member Kara Mendelson, who said she hated the photo because, quote, "I don't think it's representative of Dallas." When told later it was actually a picture of Houston, Mendelson called that, quote, "kind of disturbing." A draft brochure advertising an opening for Dallas city manager features a photo of Houston on its cover. Is this good, bad, or ugly? David.
Oh, it's really funny. But I do have some empathy here. It's really a ridiculous and embarrassing mistake. And it's a good mistake because they picked out the better city of the two to put on the picture. But I do have some empathy for all of them not noticing it. I've seen universities who had the gator as their mascot used crocodiles on the cover of their magazine. So that's pretty embarrassing. And, sometimes if you're on the political roundup, Craig Cohen will ask you a question that completely blindsides you, and you have no idea what to say. And so I have some empathy for these people. So I laugh at it. I understand why they're embarrassed, and maybe they'll have a better understanding that Houston is a great city. And so for that part, I'm going to say good.
Good, bad, or ugly, Mustafa?
I have sympathy too, but maybe it was intentional, right? Like if you're trying to recruit talented, smart people to take the job, you're better off putting a picture of Houston. Not only, it's like we're 1 million more people, we're more culturally diverse. We also have the third largest statue, right? What do they got? Like that Pegasus? That thing's like 50 feet. Like we've got 40 more feet on them. So I would say they were probably struggling to find the right person and decided, well, if we feature Houston, talk more about Houston, maybe we'll trick a person into running Dallas or something.
The part in the brochure where they referred to themselves as the energy capital of the world was really surprising, too. Good, bad, or ugly, Charles?
I agree that it's good and hilarious. And I just want to say that this puts Dallas in the good company of that great cultural icon, The Bachelor TV show, and that a few years ago there was a contestant from Dallas, and in his hometowns segment, they started off with stock footage of the Houston skyline as seen from Buffalo Bayou, Allen Parkway, the view from Allen Parkway of downtown,
awesome. Yeah.
And they labeled it Dallas. And yeah, that picture has lived rent free in my brain ever since, and it must have somehow been in the minds of the people who put this brochure together, because how can you make that mistake otherwise? Dallas actually has a pretty recognizable downtown skyline too. Maybe what this really is a lesson about vetting your consulting firms a little more before you actually write that check to them, because man,
yeah, they should not get paid on this. I'm sorry.
That's an embarrassing goof up. But I want to thank them for providing us with the content, because really that was the important task at hand.
And turnabout's fair play, and I just want to say I'm looking forward to the Houston Stars hockey season in about a month.
Yeah, there you go.
One
they
thing.
have a long history, yeah.
I would say sometimes outside of Texas and even within Texas, Houston doesn't get the credit. In essence, we're 1 million more people than the city of Dallas. We're almost twice the size of Dallas. And, when my friend Steve Kleinberg was in town, he used to talk about by 2032, we'll outpace Chicago and replace Chicago as the third largest city. And I think that when that happens, this is going to be right around the next census. Houston will become the third largest city, replacing Chicago. When that happens, I think the world and America and even within our state, we will see Houston differently. And there we will see Texas differently. For a long time, a lot of Texas stuff is kind of Dallas-centric, and I think that is moved already, but I think people will really recognize it past the next census.
Yeah, if we could just get past that J.R. Ewing problem.
Oh, God.
We need a nice TV series or a series on Houston, because this is the best place that you can have to entertain people. I mean, it's got everything. So, I mean, it's just a mecca for entertainment. So make a series Houston-based.
I mean, there was one. I mean, there was one about Mo Amer.
Yeah. Elif.
Yeah, but it was a streaming show, and Dallas.
It was in Dallas.
Right, and Dallas was back when there were only 3 TV stations and all. So,
Yeah.
But that old TV show might be the solution to the city of Dallas's problem here. The firm could come back to them and say, no. The brochure didn't have a picture of Houston. That was all a dream.
There you go.
Just like Bobby Ewing leaving the show and coming back. It was all a dream.
all a dream.
Yeah, don't make a Houston series with that in it. Thank you.
David Branham is a professor of political science at the University of Houston downtown. Mustafa Tameez is a media and public affairs consultant and the CEO of Outreach Strategists. And Charles Kuffner writes the Off the Cuff political blog. David, Mustafa, Charles, thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Craig.